So I'm here alone on my birthday, and I can't help but wonder whether I'm failing at life. To be totally alone, no one special to share this supposedly special day with. So in this video, I'm going to tell you about what I've gone through today in initially feeling like I'm failing at life for being all alone on my birthday, to actually embracing loneliness as a wonderful tool for personal growth. I'm going to do that in the first section by going through the reality of being alone. So I'm going to share with you actually what's going on in my life, why I've got no one to spend my birthday with. I will then take you through some of those key reflections and learnings. And then finally, I'll go a little bit deeper on the power of solitude, but I'm going to do it in a way where you can watch with me and think about your own life, your own loneliness, what you've been going through. And I hope that you'll go through a similar kind of experience as to what I went through today. So let's start with the reality of being alone. And there's three key things that have brought me to this place right now. The first is my circumstances that I'm currently going through. I am 43 today. I'm still single, never got married, I don't have any kids, and 18 months ago, I made the decision to move to Singapore. I'm creating a number of other videos to break down my reasons why, so if you're interested in that, make sure you subscribe to the channel so that you'll see those videos. But basically, I got to this stage in life where I felt like I needed a new start. I needed to plant my roots somewhere that would suit me a little bit better. And to be honest, I wanted to open myself up to new dating opportunities. I felt like Singapore, as a really key hub that people often travel from, would mean that I could embrace my nomadic life. I could regularly visit my parents in Australia, regularly visit Saigon, where I do a lot of work with my younger brother, who's my business partner. That would be a bit more socially accepted here. So I found in the past that all of this traveling was very difficult for relationships to develop. So I did want relationships to develop by moving here, and I'm here now. And what it's meant is that a lot of the people I'm very close with aren't in Singapore. I've got my brother in Saigon and his wife, got my parents in Cairns, and my other brother's visiting the parents right now in Cairns. So I could have flown to either of these locations, but I made the decision to stick with Singapore today, to not just run away and to just embrace this country that I'm calling home, that I'm trying to build some roots in. I'm really trying to embrace. But this brings me to the next reason for being alone, for choosing to be alone, and that's around wanting to avoid superficial interactions. So I've been here for 18 months. I do have some friends in Singapore, but I'm not close enough that I wanted to put them out in terms of letting them know it's my birthday, to get them to rally around me. I think that some of them would have liked to have celebrated my birthday. And if they see this video, might be a little bit upset that I didn't tell them, but such is life. I didn't want to put this on people. I wanted to keep things pretty simple and just to embrace really deep and meaningful relationships. If I was with any of my family members, or I've also got Huda Iande in Brazil, and Dennis in Melbourne, and a number of other people around, I'm sure we'd be celebrating pretty hard and that'd be amazing. But I'm not one for these superficial interactions. And that's something I think when we're feeling lonely in life, there's a knee-jerk reaction to just to go out and socialize with whoever you can. And then you end up feeling a little bit empty after, when it just was a bit shallow. It wasn't quite what you're looking for. It didn't have that level of depth. So I've chosen that spending time alone can provide that richness. It can provide that depth. So I've done a number of things today. I've gone out to my local coffee shop, went for a long 8-kilometer run this morning. I need to tell you about why in just a moment. I'll tell you soon. Signed up for a charity run. I'm raising money for the Blue Dragon Foundation, which is an incredible charity in Vietnam that help with human trafficking. They do wonderful work. Actually, I'll link to my donation page just below, but I've got to run half a marathon on September 8th and I'm completely out of shape. So I was really bursting from my 8-kilometer run this morning. But still, it's part of being here and wanting to do good things and connecting with people, so I'm pretty happy about doing it. And then the third reason is that I wanted to take a stance. I wanted to actually embrace my solitude. I feel like in our society, there's all of these messages that we need to be socializing with people to be happy. When people post on Instagram, they're often with their friends, partying, and it just looks like they're having a wonderful time. But you don't often see people that are embracing their solitude and getting a lot of meaning in life from it. But of course, everything we share on this channel is around personal reinvention, around creative breakthroughs in life. I'm one of the founders of The Vessel, which is a platform sharing self-knowledge tools. And I think that in these moments when traditionally you're often partying with friends and you've got that knee-jerk reaction of that's what you should be doing, those are wonderful moments to do the opposite, to actually go within, spend time with yourself and just see what comes up. And that leads me to the next section, which is all of these lessons and reflections that have come from spending time alone today. So today's been about reflection and growth. And there are three key things that I think that you can do when you're feeling really lonely and you're spending that time alone and you're not feeling so good about it. The first is to reflect on your life direction. So in my case, I started to think, well, the reason that I'm alone today is because I've moved to Singapore. What were my reasons for moving to Singapore in the first place? That's when I started to think about wanting to set up a new business hub here, to run a business from Singapore, to open myself up to different kinds of dating opportunities, to live in a hub location that caters really well for a nomadic life. And then I started to shift that energy from feeling really sad about being lonely to actually thinking, well, this is pretty amazing. Like, I'm getting all of these things in life. It's actually working out for me. It's very easy for us to focus on what we don't have rather than to slow down and appreciate what we do have. So I use that time today to think, well, this is a life direction that I've chosen, and that being alone is just a key stepping stone in this process. The next thing I did was to think about my relationships. So your birthday is a time that you want to be surrounded by loved ones, and I did start to think how lucky I am to have my family in my life and a few of my really close friends. And I have connected with them today and had some really good conversations. So rather than thinking about the people that I don't have in my life, the people that are missing right now, I started to really appreciate what I do have. And then I thought to myself, what is it about these people in my life that's united us over the long term? And this is something I think we can all do. Think about what is it that creates really meaningful relationships. I think one of the core things is shared values. I'm very lucky in that many years ago I realized that it's really important to understand what your values are and to then realize that values are very difficult to change. They're often the things that are with you for a long time. And then it's very important to connect, collaborate, build relationships with people that share your values. So I realized that many years ago. I went through a number of life transitions when I had to let go of some friends, had to go in different directions, let go of some relationships even, all around this sense of what are the core values that are driving me in my life. So I spent a bit of time thinking more about that, thinking how lucky I am to have these really close friends. And I think when you spend a bit of time reflecting on your values, then it helps you recognize what are the good relationships worth investing into and what are the ones that it's okay if they don't really take root. If you're interested in an exercise in terms of how to identify your core values, my mother, Jeanette Brown, she's one of the instructors on The Vessel. She's created a free values exercise. It's a PDF download that helps you very quickly identify these core values. So check it out via the link in the description below. The third key thing for me was about embracing my current reality. So I think often in life, it's very easy for us to lose ourselves in our imaginations of what can be different in our lives. Often around manifestation and law of attraction, they encourage us to visualize that different future. There's some good things about doing that because it helps you get a lot of clarity on what you really want, and then you start to move your life in that direction. But there's also a danger in that whenever you're visualizing something in the future, by definition, it's going to be different from what you're experiencing right now. Instead, I think there's a lot of power in embracing your present reality. Even when there's challenging emotions, when you can embrace your present reality, that's when you get this much more grounded energy. It's when you live life with a lot more fulfillment. So in my case today, it was about embracing the current life direction, not thinking it needs to be any different than it is, embracing the wonderful relationships in my life, even if they're not here right now, and not thinking to myself that I need to change anything. But the one reflection about doing something not so much differently, but taking these lessons moving forward, is to think that when you know your values, when you know what you stand for in life, it's very important to cultivate even more relationships. I think that actually building a few more relationships in Singapore would be a really wonderful thing to do. So if you're going through loneliness right now and it's sort of a little bit painful for you, I think that learning to embrace your current reality, to find the good things in it, starts to shift your aura a little bit, and that's when things start to open up. I know it's super painful when you're going through loneliness. I don't want to make light of what people are going through, but I do think that if you can go through those 3 key steps, it can help you to shake things up a little bit. So now I just want to quickly talk about the power of loneliness as a self-development tool. And it all comes from facing up to these feelings of loneliness. And when you're feeling it, if you do choose to spend that time alone, I think that it can bring up a lot of wonderful insights. In my own life, I've been thinking today that it is time for a number of changes. It's about building more meaningful relationships in Singapore, slowing down, cultivating it. That could mean joining some clubs and societies. It could mean just taking more opportunities to socialise. It's so easy just to stay home every night and read a book or watch Netflix. But actually going out and doing a little bit more, being a bit more active. I am going to do that moving forward, but also really appreciating the people that I've already got in my life and making sure to make the effort to see them, to get across to Brazil, to check out a new land project that we've got going on in the Amazon that is just starting, but I'm going to tell you more about soon. Embracing the relationship with my parents in Australia, visiting there regularly, going to Vietnam more regularly. Just really embracing what's before me right now. So I hope that if you're in a similar situation and you're feeling lonely, firstly to know that it's completely normal to feel lonely and that these feelings of pain are huge opportunities to show you the parts of your life that are worth connecting with, worth reflecting on, and worth using that feeling to just subtly direct you in a slightly different path in life. Just making those slight shifts in the way we're living our lives, connecting with others based on a shared sense of values. Actually, I think that when it comes to loneliness, one of the worst things that we can do is to get the feeling and then to go out and try to socialize in superficial ways with people around us. That can actually cause a lot more pain in the long run. I did another video a few years ago when I was in the Daintree rainforest in far north Queensland in Australia, and I shared a message for anyone that's feeling the pain of being lonely, and I explained why trying to go through the knee-jerk reaction of socializing with people is the worst thing that you can do. So check it out, it's just appearing right here. And make sure you let me know in the comments how you face up to loneliness in your own life and how you feel in those moments. I'd love to get to know you there, and see you in the next video.